Welcome to another
talk.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
proper energy. I liked it.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Right, come on. Pump, action. Right, first thing to talk about, what's going down with Russia.
Our best friends across the pond.
Well, it's not the pond, that's
Across
America.
across a few very large pieces of land.
The bad
Good
guys
few
in
countries.
Eastern Europe.
Bad.
Well, do you want to start us off then?
Yeah, sure. So this one's a bit of a big one, to be honest. But essentially, Russia has what would be the polite term? Wiped their ass with the US peace deal for Ukraine.
Yeah, which is a weird one, really, because it was strongly suggested that they actually made that peace proposal. So we say peace, land grab, or solidifying what they already had, largely. It's a weird one, you know. I flip flop around of actually what it is that Putin wants. I don't really get it. I kind of understand with a bit of a history of the limited that I know of, but in eastern Ukraine there is a lot of native Russian speaking. You know, obviously former members of the USSR and sort of de facto Russian, and so a lot of the people in eastern Ukraine consider themselves as historically Russian. As I said, they speak Russian. Mm-hmm. And so they're quite sort of easy ones to sort of take over. You kind of always think as well, if your country is taking over another country, there's one thing to take them over, another thing to hold on to them. Yeah. Right? And if they kind of consider themselves Russian anyway, they'll be much easier to take to not only take over but to continuously have. Now, there's been a lot of talk or scaremongering over Russia steamrolling over a weakened Europe. I just can't see it. I just don't get it. It's not that I don't get it. Well, it's not. I don't get it in terms of the reasoning of why, but I also don't think that they have the capability of. I mean, that they are struggling enough. When they first attacked Ukraine, they went straight for Kyiv, and they tried to take over the whole of Ukraine. Their special military operation was only meant to be a few weeks, maybe a couple of months. It wasn't meant to be the years-long war that we have now. They thought it would be an easy grab, and they'd do it quickly, and it was done. But they didn't realize, or they didn't expect there to be so much pushback, and the Ukrainians are hard bastards, it seems, and they have a huge army, and one of the things that they wanted in this peace plan was to restrict the size of that army, and ultimately, I think, the consensus was under this plan was to give Russia, Putin, some time to regroup and fight again. There's a lot of sort of similarities with World War II about sort of how Hitler signed certain agreements or whatever to say, actually I won't attack, and then he did attack and all that kind of stuff. And Putin's doing the same sort of thing now of saying, I won't attack. I'll sign this. I'll come to the agreement. And then doesn't, or whatever. It just gives them time to attack. And so that's what's looking like it's happening, but then he's now rejected it. So what is he doing all this for? Is it just a play? Is he just flirting around with the idea of peace? Maybe he's suggesting that he wants peace, and then he doesn't. I mean, who knows what's happened in the room? And we're saying this on a Wednesday afternoon, and this has just come out now. That Russia has rejected the plan. The plan, which of course was heavily criticised because it was in the favour of the Kremlin anyway. So God knows, but a lot of Europe is on tenterhooks because they do believe that an invasion is possible. I know you're itching to talk about that as well. And of course, the UK is not military ready at all. But as I said, I don't know how. I can't envision the invasion anyway. The only thing I think that they could do is to try and stop Europe from defending the Baltic states, which I believe that Russia may well try to grab back all the former USSR countries, as I say. So maybe he's just trying to say, look, you stop, right? Just don't get involved in anything that I do, because we've got nukes. We've got a much bigger army. So don't think about it. They're thinking maybe the United States don't want to get involved, or at least the only bit that they do want to get involved in is negotiation. But they won't actually put any troops on the ground. They might supply some weapons, which they have been doing, but even that they're getting tired of, you know.
So I'm going to ask you a question. It's a little bit rhetorical, but I wonder if you can answer it. I can't answer it. Why did a little bit, but why did we win World War II and not the Axis powers?
Why?
There is a reason.
America, baby. Mainly,
yes, but that's not why.
Mainly, I mean, if it wasn't for America, we would have been taken over. I mean, we were already getting bombed to shreds, and there were huge sort of preparingness of a possible invasion on the south coast. We did have a big naval.
We're the biggest,
but it was waning. So the German subs were very good, and they were just getting more and more powerful, as in their navy, and we weren't. The only reason why we're able to get somewhere is because of the United States. If it wasn't for the United States, the classic, we would all be speaking German. Again, we wouldn't be, because they'd only be able to hold on to us for a decade or two, and then everyone would be fighting back. But
yeah, but that's not why. The reason we won and the Axis didn't is because of logistics. When it came to it, America was producing, England was producing, Russia were producing. Did you know Russia? I was watching a video on World War II yesterday, and Russia was producing, I think it was one bomber every 63 minutes. That's huge. These are not talking about small planes, we're talking about bombers.
Well, Germany got too big for its boots, right? It was attacking on all fronts, and it just couldn't do it.
The reason it attacked the Soviet Union in the first place was because of resources the Soviet Union had and it wanted, because it was running out of resources. So this brings us very nicely into where we are currently. Okay. So Russia has been, obviously, the war in Ukraine has been going on for a few years now. Russia took a massive defeat at first, whether they like admitting it or not. They thought they would, as you said, they thought they would win quickly. They didn't. But now, Russian industry is they've almost, their productivity of producing weapons, the productivity of producing missiles, productivity of producing drones is scary.
Well,
right?
they've changed their economy to a war footing, right?
Yes.
So everything is making weapons.
Yeah,
and
they will win Ukraine.
Well, everyone knows they will eventually win, and they can take over the whole of Ukraine, and that's their stick, right? And they know that if they keep on at it, eventually United States will give up. And they'll eventually win. And okay. the issue is where they're going to stop from there. What are they?
Okay, well, yeah, I mean that's the fair assumption, but you need to remember also, did you know, I didn't realise this, I only found this out, I was watching a video made by the Times. Did you know nearly every artillery cannon we've given to Ukraine? I have a very strong opinion on Ukraine. I have no clue why England is still supporting Ukraine as much as they are. We need to start adapting. We need to understand. Our army is the smallest it's ever been. Just a comparison, our army is 70,000 people, right? Do you know how many people live in Milton Keynes? 280,000 people. So nearly 1/5 of the size of Milton Keynes is our entire armed forces.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
Russia.
I mean, we're actually we're spending a lot of money, but that's not going very far. And
No.
what we get for our pound is not very much compared to other countries.
We are not in a situation for war. Not even in an economic standpoint, a social standpoint as well, a productive standpoint. War, and you could argue Russia's playing the long game with England. There's a lot of theories that Russia are actually behind a lot of the immigration gangs.
Well,
They want to push immigrants into the UK to crumble it from the inside. And if that is the case, and if Russia are playing a long strategy destroying the UK economy, they've done a bloody good job.
Well,
Putin should write a book.
I'm pretty sure our government can do that all by itself.
Yeah.
I don't
Potentially.
think it needs Russian influence for that. Well, there's been talks of them being too close to our waters. There's been interception from in like German airspace.
Polish airspace.
They're just sort of doing little bits and pieces to see what our reactions will be. But the thing is, I mean, have you seen? I don't want to plug it here, but here we go, another podcast. But there is. Have you seen the War Game? I think it's a Sky thing.
No.
Yeah, if you go on to, it's on Spotify. It's really interesting. It basically it brings together a load of people that used to be in government, or whatever, ex-army chiefs and all that kind of stuff. So people that are really in the know, and it acts out a war game, right? What happens if Russia does this? How would it start attacking us? You know, and they would do it by a basis. Well, they think they would probably do it under the premise of. Something would happen and they'd blame the UK for it, right? And they'd say, I don't know, a dock has been blown up in Russia and they think the UK is to blame. And so they do and that gives them, an excuse to attack us somewhat. And they make a major attack at one of our ports, maybe...
Can I vote Portsmouth?
Probably Portsmouth or something like that.
That's where we have a lot of our naval. I've actually been on a boat.
So they could do a preemptive strike right at Portsmouth, and it won't affect the people day to day. Ordinary people just going about their business won't be affected. It'll be all over the news though. And then what is our response? Well, we will go. We'll go to NATO and say we've been attacked. We want to trigger it. It's Russia. Now, NATO is all but basically United States, right? And that's the big problem. So really, it's down to the United States. Now, with Trump in power, he doesn't want to ruffle the feathers of Russia. It's just in the round, it's just maybe a ship that's been blown up or a port that's been damaged. In the round, it's not worth starting World War III over. So whilst they've attacked a NATO country, and we've enacted that in I don't know what article or whatever we need to enact to say we've been attacked, we need help, but ultimately we don't need NATO's help, we need United States help. And what would Trump say to that? He'll be thinking, well, I don't want to start World War III here. So end of the day, Russia has accused the United Kingdom of an attack. United Kingdom have accused Russia of an attack. Let's just try and sort it out between yourselves. Right? And that's the premise of this war game, and it's very, very interesting because it really shows bit by bit how royally fucked we are. Yeah. Right. Because it then slowly just goes to, we're not going to get the help from NATO, from United States. So where are we at? and ultimately we just keep getting crushed and crushed and crushed.
Yep.
And that makes it harder and harder until at some point, United States have to come in. I do think, I mean, if Trump stays in power for whilst this is happening, I do think Trump has a huge love for United Kingdom.
I think he doesn't for Starmer though. He does. I don't think he likes Starmer. There's been a lot of things where he's criticised Starmer.
Yeah. But he likes the UK.
He likes the UK.
He likes the royal family. His mother is from Scotland. So he is Scottish, in part. He grew up in New York with a lot of Irish history, So
let me ask you, hold on.
He's very much of that, and he's not a young guy. So his history and his love will come back. Stretches far enough that he has that love. For the United Kingdom, not so more for the United Kingdom than the rest of Europe. If this was happening to another European country, I don't think he'd be as as.
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, something that probably would happen. It depends how much he dislikes Labour at that point. I mean, I
genuinely don't think it's anything to do with the government. I think he looks at it as the UK.
Okay, well,
unless you got Farage in charge, which will be able to do an extra bit. I don't think. I mean, if you get King Charles, right, sending a letter or giving Trump a phone call saying, "Hello, can you help us?" That's my impression. Do you think he'll say no? Of course he won't. It'll be like, "Oh, of course, I want to go around there and I want to have another state dinner and I want to be lauded." Trump wants to be praised. And that's why everyone praises him, because they get what they want. It's basically, he is now the new king, right? And that's how he likes it. And as long as you praise him, he will want to deliver. And that's why he gets involved in all these things. He got elected under the guise of sort of peace, and he wants to deliver peace, but he wants to deliver the peace for his own praise, which is. I mean, at least it gets that outcome, right? Maybe not for the right reasons, but
I think something I also want to mention. This is something I mentioned just before we started recording. Talking about Russia and potential conflict. Germany has set out recently to rebuild the strongest army in Europe, and in doing so, it's sending letters through the door of young people and basically asking them to vote. Not necessarily vote, but almost complete a survey on if conscription was a thing, would you fight? And it's to gauge will we need to conscript? And this is something the UK has talked about quite a lot as well. And in terms of the UK population, the young population, there seems to be, we'll talk about that in the next podcast, but there seems to be an overwhelming negative view on that. But this is all because NATO has basically warned that by 2029, they think that would be the deadline, that if Russia was to attack, it would be within kind of that stretch of time. So they all want to make sure they're military ready by 2029. And that begs the question, what's England doing? Nothing. What's England? Exactly, nothing. I found a thingy recently that there's this conscription problem. And they found out that actually there was nothing wrong with people wanting to join the army. They think that there is an average about 120,000 people every year that want to join the army. But because the process is so long, so scrutinising, that number that actually falls through and starts training is significantly lower. And it's a logistics problem. Once again, it's a logistics problem.
No, it's a government problem.
It's an efficiency problem. As much as we, say, blame the army, the government. The government is, is in control of the army, but the army is its own separate thing. They have their own generals.
The thing is, Putin is 73 years old.
Is he that old?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right?
He doesn't look it. Bloody doesn't well for the nose.
Famously, obviously, he is quite in shape for. He projects because he projects that strength. We've seen all the photos of him with his shirt off on top of a horse.
He's Russian, yeah,
and all that kind of stuff, sort of projecting that masculinity. You know, and it's yeah, but yeah, he's 73, and you know, whatever he's planning to do, he want to do it quick.
Yeah.
You know, in 10 years he'll be 83, and he won't be able to do it for much longer.
You need to remember that Putin, as Putin is very smart. He's ex-KGB. He has been in this game longer than
I wouldn't call him very smart. You'll be accused of being a Putin lover.
I'm not a Putin lover, but
That's what Farage was done, wasn't he? He said he admires him as an operative or whatever he said. And because
but he is smart.
Because he said that, he's been accused of being a Putin sympathizer. You know,
call it what you want. I think there's a game at play here, and
well, the proof's in the pudding of how good the game is, right? Because no one bloody knows what game he's playing, right? And that's probably the best one but the best game to play is if no one knows, you know, what his next move is. That's
yeah. Anyway, let's move on because we've been on this for 21 minutes.
We got a timer up.
Right.
What next?
Labour, black hole. Is it real? Is it bullshit?
Yeah, we're not talking about the black holes in space here. We're talking about the fiscal black hole.
Yeah. The interstellar of the Labour accounts.
I mean, it's all a load of bollocks. I mean, it's right. So we're talking about the fallout from the budget last week, and I guess how everyone's taken it now. The masters of the universe, or the real people in power, of course, are the markets, and the markets apparently responded okay to it.
Yeah,
as in it hasn't gone all tits up as such. Now, but she's come under a lot of fire. The reason why she's come under a lot of fire is because this has been the worst run-up to any budget anyone can really remember. So for the past few months, she's been there's been sort of almost a bit of a drip feed of what could happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, the income tax raise and their breaking of the manifesto and all the rest of it never even happened. And I think a big problem is that a lot of companies stopped investing because they expected some big things to happen. I mean, I was speaking to my accountant, sort of weeks running up to the budget, and I run a small company, and even she was saying, watch it though, budget. Okay, so everything I say with the caveat as it might change in the budget. So everyone was delaying investing, right, and making decisions, and that's cost the country billions in not deciding, and that's the worst thing to do as a chancellor. So even before she even stood up, it was bad, right? Then to make matters worse, the OBR obviously released the budget just less than an hour before, which a major embarrassment, so much that the head of the OBR is now resigned, which was widely expected just after. I mean, you kind of think, as not knowing much about what these sort of things mean, you kind of think, oh well, does it really matter? They've just released the budget 50 minutes earlier, but because that can heavily affect the market in some situations. Yeah. If you know that information, you could make a lot of money from that sensitive information. So much so that it's very much tight knitted. No one really knows what it is until she stands up. But because this happened, it's a major fuck up for the OBR, and now there's even questions about the OBR, because is the OBR too powerful? It was set up, I think, in 2010 by George Osborne, as a way of sort of keeping the Treasury to some sort of balance. OBR obviously is independent, but it's given them a lot of power, and they're not elected. It's given them a lot of power because it now sort of holds chancellors. It stops them from doing certain things they point to it all the time and say, look, the OBR said it's fine, so we're fine. But actually, they're just economists, right?
Yeah.
No different to all the other economists.
Yeah.
And they can get things wrong themselves.
Well, economists
you know,
famously get things wrong. I remember the Queen went to LSE once and said to the students there, economists are famously get everything right after it happens.
Yeah.
But before, it's just a social science.
Yeah.
It's like Sheldon Cooper, theoretical physics.
I mean, it's good. It's good that we have those, but I think, and you need to have those projections. But at the end of the day, you can't be held to it as a chancellor.
Yeah.
And I think there are big questions of whether it should even exist.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Liz Truss, when she did hers, the OBR massively screwed her, right? Because that was a big part of her downfall, etc. Starmer's come out and said he is proud of the budget, and he's really, I think he's had to double down on it, right? Because him and Rachel Reeves are entwined, aren't they? If she goes, he goes.
Yeah.
I was looking at the betting, markets, and they say that the next prime minister, that's best odds is
Andy. Forgotten the surname. Who is it?
So
Rachel Reeves.
Who is the person that is most likely to be the next prime minister?
I'm not sure. What, out of everyone?
Out of everyone.
So not just Labour Party?
Anyone.
Oh, it's Nigel Farage.
Yeah, but it's not, right? Whilst he is most likely to win the next election, the betting markets suggest that Keir Starmer will be replaced before then. So therefore, the next prime minister will be someone from Labour. Wes Streeting is on top odds for replacing Keir Starmer as leader. So Keir Starmer will either be pushed or he'll jump himself.
Yeah.
And that's before Nigel Farage comes in. So at the next election, we could be looking at a leadership contest between Nigel Farage and Wes Streeting. That's what you could be looking at. And they say that's so likely as well. It's actually much more likely than not. So I would think
it's known that I think it's common sense that Labour's going to have a new prime minister by the time it gets to the election. There's no way
we're going to have a new prime minister. Yeah.
We're going to have we're going to have a new prime minister because there's no way Starmer's going to last. I mean, Labour are already massively split. There's massive divides. This is not a what's the opposite of divide? This is not a kind of like a combined party currentty. There's loads of cracks everywhere.
Well, what they've said is that this was a budget to appease the backbenchers, right? It's to save their jobs, to save Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer's job. Yeah. That was what this budget was, because what this budget did was I guess it did everything that they wanted to do. So it didn't spook the markets, and it kept their backbenchers happy, and that was it. It wasn't good for the country. There was nothing about growth or anything like that. It wasn't good for the country, but it kept their jobs, and that was all it was about. It was about keeping their job. I mean, how mental is that? You just think about how angry that can make us. That the whole basis of that budget was not for the good of the country. It was the good of their own jobs.
It's horrific that politicians have now got to that point where they act in accordance to what they want, not the country. Because, not being funny, if they acted in the country's interest, Starmer would hand his resignation in right now. He'd be gone.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole of Labour should be gone if we're talking about the benefit of the country.
You just look at the polls, right?
Yeah.
And so, and of course, she's been accused of lying, which is a strong word in politics. Lying is a strong word. If you ever hear any politicians accuse someone else of lying, it's against like the code of ethics and all the rest of it. So, accusing someone of lying is a big statement, but journalists can make it. We can say that someone's lying, just about. And there's been a lot of accusations that she's lied. Right, so she lied because she's made a big song and dance. She's done the country down in order to get away with her budget, right? To be able to get all those taxes through. Last year, she said that she wouldn't put up taxes at the next budget. This is the last time. This time, she's come back for more. She's done a lot, and it's just lie after lie with the manifesto commitments. They've been very... The thing is, I think the public can see through it, right? If they say we're not going to tax working people, and they do that, but indirectly, people see through it.
Yeah.
And so definitely.
Nothing that's happened in this budget is good. It might seem, quite, irrelevant, but it's not. It's because they're just pushing the problem. They're just pushing the problem till next year.
Should we talk about more government incompetence?
Let's talk. I love talking about government. That seems that this whole podcast is about government incompetence.
Yeah, maybe we should just change the name
to government incompetence HQ. Yeah.
So
this bit's hilarious.
Okay, so the government has spent, from what we can see, nearly £300 million investigating COVID. So, did we do the right thing? How many people lost their lives ultimately from maybe an inaction of the government at the time, and what is the come out from that? What can we learn from it and all the rest of it? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't see anything wrong with looking back and seeing where we went wrong, what we could have done better. But fuck me, does it have to cost that much money? I don't understand. You look at, and this happens all the time. Whenever you look at government waste, when people say, oh yeah, there'll be a bit of waste of doing that. But then you look at the figures and you go, what? How? Like, your mind boggles. £300 million. And they haven't even stopped. That amount is still going up. And the thing is as well, like, when it came out, I think last week it came out, and they said, if Boris Johnson locked down soon, he could have saved 23,000 lives. Yeah. And it's like, okay, yeah, but it was a very difficult time. Yeah.
Not to mention that...
I'm not defending... I don't want to defend Boris, because I didn't... I really didn't like how he handled it either. I don't think they should have locked down at all. No. I think they should have locked down partially, but I think a full lockdown was nuts. So that's my opinion. We can talk about that on another podcast maybe, because that was a huge thing, right? Yeah. But I just think that you can't go back and blame someone for something that is that no one knows about, you know? Like, if you say, oh, yeah, well, knowing what we know now, okay, right, well, that should have been the decision. Yeah, but we didn't know what we knew now. So you can't blame anyone for that. I just think spending £300 million to get to that answer, which, to be honest with you, everyone knew anyway. Yeah. Then what are we doing?
It's utterly ridiculous, and when we were watching that budget, I was thinking, like, why are we spending this? A country so much money, because as much as he taxed, she was also spending money on things that didn't need to be spent money on. I mean, it's what it is currently. It's someone has handed Rachel Reeves a credit card with no unlimited budget, and someone comes to her, and she just beep. Beep, beep, beep. It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, the government, £300 million. Any idea how much money that is?
It's about £300 million.
But it's unfathomable how much money that is down the drain.
To talk about the budget again, just quickly. I think something that is now the backbenchers like this, but the public don't. Okay. The stopping of the two-child cap.
I've seen so many memes
right?
about that.
Exactly, right. So you've seen so many memes about it. I've seen so many memes about it. There has been a lot of commentary about it, because the thing is, Labour have got a bad reputation, which they tried so hard to get off, which is they're bad at the economy, and they take from everybody, or they take from the hard-working people, and they give to these scroungers, right? Yeah. And that is a reputation that they try to really get away from. The whole benefits Britain, etc. That was huge in the noughties, etc. And that is back, and that is back big style, because we've seen so many things about if you have, say, 5 children. And you're claiming child benefit, that is the equivalent to a salary of like £73,000, and all that kind of stuff, like insane figures. And people don't like that, good, honest, hardworking people, which is the vast majority of the UK. They do not like the fact, or they don't like the idea of their taxes going to people that are sat on their ass on their iPhones watching daytime TV, with multiple children. They don't like that, and that is something that's really easy to grasp. When they see their paycheck every month, they see the big amount of tax going out every month, and they know that's going to people that are just sat on their ass. And they're working hard. They're doing 40, 50, 60 hours a week. They're waking up early in the morning, and this is a golden nugget to Reform, who have created a whole brand now of, we are for the hard-working people. We are for, they say, alarm clock Britain. Have you heard Nigel Farage saying that? So whilst you've got Nigel Farage saying we are for alarm clock Britain, you've got now Labour saying we're for benefits Britain, and it's gone down like a sack of shit, right? And so straight away you had Kemi Badenoch saying this is benefits Britain, straight away, and that is the narrative now. And what I find really interesting is that has hit home massively. You've seen so many memes. I've seen so many memes, but it's because everybody's talking about it. And so now the narrative has completely gone from, I think it's spread even from Keir Starmer hating to Labour hating, right? So this isn't something that I think can be fixed even with a change of leadership. This is what Labour is, right? And I think this is what a lot of people now
and the Greens will be even worse.
Well, it's almost like if you don't like the shitstorm that is Labour, Greens even worse. Yeah. But some people, you know what the fucked up thing is? A lot of people like that, right? You still get a lot of people that are far left, right? Or very that sort of lefty way of thinking. They don't believe in their heart of hearts. They don't believe that, someone is sat on their ass and just taking benefits. They think it's a narrative spun by the right.
They haven't seen it.
And that just isn't true, right? And actually, the reason why the benefits bill is so high is because we have a big fundamental problem with society. It's not that these people don't want to work; it's that they don't have the ability, or they've got mental health problems, or there are other things at work in which stopping them from working, or maybe they are working, or they say, okay, but should you punish the child? Keir Starmer stood up and said, I will not apologise for having hundreds of thousands or thousands of children out of poverty. That's what he was saying. He's saying, I will not apologise for that. It's like, okay, but the thing is, those children that are in poverty, I honestly, poverty, I get really hung up about this word. So poverty to me is extreme poor, it's been extremely poor. There is a different definition of poverty within each country. But when I think of poverty, I think of, people on the streets, people not being able to feed their children. Now, and that I just don't believe that is the vast majority of the UK. I just think that people need to learn how to cook, live within their means. I do believe that people need a handout. Anyway, that's a thing for another day. Maybe I could talk about this for a long time.
Yes,
the main thing is that this is going down like a sack of shit. There we go.
I find it really funny actually that a lot of my generation are expected to vote Green.
Yeah, because Labour's not left enough, right?
Because apparently, do you know what? I'm going to be very honest. It's the same type of people. it's always, in my generation, it's the same type of people. Because I met them at university, right? It's type of people that, and I can't make sense of this. Maybe someone can. I just can't make sense of it. Where you have millionaire parents live in £1 million house, but apparently, everyone should be left because the parents are definitely voting left. They ain't. But the child thinks that, socialism's the way forward. But they paint themselves as the biggest fucking hypocrites known to man. And, worse than the politics, because I can completely understand my generation if they have a good reason and a good debate. I will fully respect that. And it's a lot of the times, I'll respect my generation. If someone wants to talk out and say, I want to vote for Green, why? If they give a fair explanation, fine.
Yeah.
Okay? But there's something dark and twisted about the Green Left Party in my generation. It's the whole, jumping on the mental health side. It's the we can't talk about this, we can't talk about that. You've got to be friendly to people. It's this woke fucking culture, and it's so toxic. I think we could do. Maybe, that's its own podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe we could do a whole podcast about the Green Party.
Yeah, maybe.
What have we got after this?
Right, we've got one more. It's a good time because we're at 41 minutes now. David Lammy, jury service for sentences. Jury service being abolished for sentences under 3 years.
Yeah,
and also he's letting more people out of prison.
There's been a lot of talk about this because it almost goes to the fundamental of how people think about crime in this country and justice. Yeah. So justice has been massively on people's minds, right? It is crime and the lack of justice for those crimes has been very high up on the agenda, and it is moving up and up and up on the agenda of people, and people just don't feel like there is enough punishment, right? No. And this goes to the heart of that, really, doesn't it? I would say people wouldn't even know actually that you have a jury service for these sort of crimes anyway. So this news shouldn't really affect people, but it goes to that heart of it, right? Yeah. So I don't think it's common knowledge that you have a jury service of under 3 years anyway. I wouldn't know. Did you know? I didn't know. I didn't know that. So this isn't something that people are going to be that upset about, but what they are upset about is it's a reminder of how inept the government is at justice. So the reason why they're saying that they'll do this is because they have a backlog, right? The backlog goes to at the moment 2029. So if something happens to you, I don't know, you get assaulted or something like that, or whatever the situation is, and it goes to court, you won't be seen for about 4 or 5 years, which is insane. Which is an insane amount of time to wait for justice, both for the victim and actually for the accused as well.
Yeah, depending on what they did.
Yeah, because it could be that you're accused and you're innocent. Yeah. And you've got this hanging over you. Or it could be that you're a victim, and again you've got it hanging over you. But the government's answer is it to put more money into it, and actually make the system better, as in having more judges, having more magistrates, having more courts. Yeah. Is that the answer? No. We'll just make it. We'll just abolish juries.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not the answer.
No.
That you need to put more money into it. He's putting more money into it as well. He said like £34 million, but that's a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's not just criminal courts. It's also civil courts as well. Yeah. I have it with obviously if we try to evict someone, we have to wait like 6 months to evict someone. So and all that time they're getting away with robbing us of all that rent, right? Yeah. And they just get away with it. and it's because they've too much of a backlog in the courts. Just put more money into it. I know it's easy to say, and of course we've both sat here for the last however long and said we don't like the government spending money. But for goodness sake, you need to spend the money where the money. Well, don't spend it on foreign aid. Spend it on our justice system. You know, things like that. Don't send it to Pakistan, right? Send it to our justice system. Yeah. You know, send it to our police. Yeah. You know, don't give it to the people on benefits that are sat on their arse. Yeah. Give it to the. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just been spent in the wrong way, and it's constantly the same thing. And again, that goes to the heart of everything that we talk about. It's
a simple case that the government needs to learn to grow a backbone. Something you can really admire, whether you love her or you hate her. Margaret Thatcher had a very strong idea of what she believed in, right? She knew very well who she was trying to please. She knew what her views were, and she didn't give a shit about the people that didn't. The problem is with most governments, and Conservatives are equally guilty for this, they sit there, they get into power, and then they try and please everyone. They need to stop doing that. They need to understand that people on benefits, if you want to get them off their arse, they're not going to like you. So fucking be it. Right? You're never, in an election, you're never going to convince the people that are left. They will always be left. The same as the right. You need to convince the people in the centre that don't really know. That's your target market. The government needs to stop, in the nicest way, needs to get their head out their arse and stop fucking around.
It's weird. I actually think that the government don't necessarily want to please people on benefits as such, but they want to please their backbenchers. Yeah, that's what it is. And they've got such a majority, so they've got such a big power to do so much. But the problem is there's so much infighting. If they're not careful, they will be booted out.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's that.
That's that. So ultimately, the result of this podcast is the government's incompetent. They're spending all of our money, and they are doing everything for themselves.
It's not really a news flash, though, is it?
Yeah, that's not really a news flash. Everyone knows that. But anyway,
and Russia's on the rise and on the move. There we go.
Yeah. Anyway, that was episode 11 of the Common Talk podcast. If you liked it, please give us a rating, follow button, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and we'll see you for the next episode where we talk about should young people fight for this country in a wartime scenario. Goodbye.
Goodbye.